Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, general manager for the Minnesota Vikings, joins us. I was watching the press conference on my computer, but not listening to it because
that's the best way to enjoy me, I think. Also.
Well, you look like you're really enjoying yourself. Though you're animated, hands are all over the place and stuff. Got the cool Argyle socks, but they didn't see the socks. We're just. It's doing the show. You got segments. We would like to have listened to the press conference. If I wasn't here, we would have played it live. And if you had done it earlier in the day and had like Sam and Jeff have it in the 9 o'clock hour, well, then I could have replayed it in the 11 o'clock hour and stolen a segment. That's just how we work in radio, is you try to read the hieroglyphics that are my handwriting for these questions coming up. What did you actually pull out of it? Anything?
From looking at your sheet right there,
okay.
I see mock madness.
Okay.
I see mock madness. Well, I'm ready for that.
Excellent. Well, this is weird because, like, if I accidentally looked at your phone and saw a name or something like that, I'd be in the meat grinder and probably lose my access. No. You look at my questions up and down, now you know my plays. And I'm just like sitting back like a Sam Howell, and you're Andrew Van Ginkel, and you're about ready to pick it off and get to the end zone, right?
No, man. I would never need to pick. I love coming on the show. I love the conversations we get into. So, but no, my phone is busy. But I think people should realize that we talk all the time. A lot of us general managers. It's a community. We talk often, not just about ideas, different things. So this time of year, obviously, there's some other conversations happening, and that's a part of it.
Yeah, and I've said this before. It's our relationship is predicated on a lot of things, including getting to know each other outside of football. We both have an adoration for old school R&B, we'll call it. So when I come out here, I will send you a song from YouTube very early in the morning that I think is in line, cohesive, or metaphorical to the day.
Yeah.
Well, the first one was On the Radio by Donna Summer. On the radio. So that's like a driving along song.
Yeah.
The other was For Your Mother-in-Law. And it's a song by former Sly and the Family Stone bassist Larry Graham called Hair.
Okay. Why for my mother-in-law is Paul Allen's biggest fan, just for everybody, so everybody knows.
Well, I was pondering a haircut this week, and then Sam and Jeff and the staff tell me, well, no, Thursday, Kwesi, 11:20, 11:25, so I didn't cut my hair. Just because this is Vikings.com, in case mother-in-law is watching, I don't want to let her down. It's a very tense time of the year, not only for Kwesi, but ancillary people in the Kwesi covenant. This is very important stuff.
No, we try. There's no, I think, we put a lot of work into this. But the reason you put a lot of work into it is because it makes you calm. It lowers anxiety and all those different things. So we try to keep that environment calm and
like music.
Yep, calm and just decision-making oriented environment.
So you've seen my first 15 from my Friday walkthrough or my Saturday mock game up to the game that is the interview with Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Mock Madness was supposed to be the first play. We're going to make it second. Now, Mock Madness, when you see it, maybe you think, hey, let's mock Caleb Williams. It's not that. But first and foremost, because I couldn't hear that press conference, how did it go in there?
It was great. Obviously, I love connecting with our media because it gives us a chance to talk to our fans, which matters a lot to me. A lot of the questions were about quarterback and strategies and different things like that, which was understandable, and I'm glad I got to talk about it in that way. I don't know if I do a lot of stuff gets said out there, and because I try and keep my head down and just work to Sam and Jeff's disapproval sometimes, I don't know what things are going on out there at all times. So it is great to get up there and talk, and from my mouth, hear it from me exactly why we did things and how we thought about things. So that was great about that, and they asked some great questions about how we're thinking about quarterback in general, the position, the moves, different things like that, and it's good. It was a great dialogue, like always.
So what you're saying is I wasn't in there. I'm talking about Luka and Kyrie and what I saw against the Heat last night. And when two high-enders who are alphas, not betas, they have no agenda. They're agenda-free. The Western Conference better be careful because this thing's starting to work now. So I'm talking about that, and you're telling me in this press conference you were dropping names and I wasn't there. Are you kidding me? And I missed that?
No, you didn't miss anything.
Okay.
Great. I did talk about checking in on my Wolves, but what was I gonna? It's amazing that Dallas is going to have to play the Clippers, though. That great of a season. I mean,
Yeah.
the Western Conference is loaded. It's going to be a tough. Every first-round series is going to be tough. I mean, the play-in series is going to be incredibly tough. I'm excited to get through the draft. And
You're an elite NBA mind, I can tell.
I love it.
But you know what? There's a certain individual who I met maybe 2 years and 2.5 months ago who had an underrated philosophy of shedding money or shedding salary cap in a way so that you don't have to look through couch cushions for nickels and dimes during free agency, and also getting a certain team younger.
Yep.
Well, I mean, that individual might want to make a call to that individual of the LA Clippers because, I mean, they're a little aged, if you know what I mean.
But there's different ways to do it.
And Kawhi's not playing.
But we forget when Kawhi was healthy.
Yeah, he's the bomb.
I thought he was, you could argue he's the best player in the league.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
And so, I think you get a chance. It's so hard. What's so hard about all of this, and I mean football, basketball, is ultimately you're trying to win a championship, right? And that's the sole odds. And yes, if your aging team has a lot of guys on it, you need a lot of things to hit. But is there some odds that they can? Is it non-zero? And you would say yes if they were healthy.
Yeah.
For the full playoff runs, would you give the Clippers a non-zero?
I give them a chance, a non-zero.
But
there are a lot of non-zeros in the world. Memphis is a zero. You didn't say it. I said it for like ProBasketball.com.
But how many teams are truly non-zero? That's what I push people on.
That's a very good point. Wow, that's some quantitative method right there, and you caught me off guard.
That's that. So they give themselves a chance, and it's obviously a more high variance chance. But if they get a run, I don't know. That's a tough team, and I'll root for our Wolves against that and all that. But that's team building. That's no different than the NFL. It's no different. You're just trying to string together a lot of different things. Good players, injury luck over a bunch of seasons to win a championships. Is your odds non-zero?
Yeah,
that's really what you're trying to do. Now our sport's challenging because just there's more players and there's less impact of one superstar like LeBron or obviously the Ant-Man and different things like that. But it's not that different in a team building sense.
But on the other side of it, if you like the Kansas City Chiefs are the target at which to shoot every single year until they're not, largely due to the coach, the culture, the staff, and the quarterback.
Absolutely.
And an MB3 is the way I call it. It's like, I mean, it's like for you, it probably wasn't the easiest thing in the world cutting Dalvin Cook. Well, imagine trading Tyreek Hill at that age. I mean, that takes fortitude and forward thinking when it comes to the salary cap and just everything involved. But Tyreek, whether you like him or not, very good player, very fast. He's a problem. But to do so, you have Mahomes, Kelsey, and Chris Jones. That it's an ultimate team game, and you need 22 to whatever to win. But having three that caliber obviously can, especially when you have cohesiveness and it's agenda-free, and get you over the top. But that doesn't mean, like you said, is it a zero sum or non-zero?
Chance, yep.
Okay, well, for you guys, all right, Kansas City is a non-10 if we're going 0 to 10.
Yep.
There is not a 10 in the league. There are non-10s, but targets at which to shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, 2 weeks from today, that's where another swing, another step and stuff like that continues for all teams around the NFL. But just off that press conference, did you leave it all on the field or the podium? You leave it all out there?
I felt like I left it all on the podium.
Good.
It's got a lot of things working right now. Obviously calls and work and different things like that. But I think it was good, and I loved your point about Kansas City. Obviously we have a GM text group now, and Beach is one of our our logos.
That's sweet.
You talk about forward looking, not to draft Patrick Mahomes when you already have an Alex Smith, to take a risk to keep your window open longer by trading Tyreek Hill. Those are all these decisions. I got asked in the press conference, are you scared because the quarterback hit success rate is low versus all these things are extremely risky, and the price for greatness over a long period of time is taking risk and winning. You can just play the no pass line and sit there and do nothing, and that's an okay environment, but that's not how we're going to do things. So we're going to try and win a championship.
Yeah, but you're not playing the hard 8 or the hard 10 or the hard 4 or the hard 6.
Agreed. Although I used to love the hard.
Hey, I love. Well, the don't pass line sucks, and it's like not that I ever would do that from September through the Super Bowl, but nevertheless. Yeah, I mean, I want to throw the dice at the person and the end of the table, and yeah.
I bet you're a two-way hard 8 guy for the dealer.
Well, no, it's every single time, whether winning or losing. Let's say between mid-February, when's training camp begin? Mid-February and the end of July. $5 11 yo, $5 yo for the dealer, $5 yo for me, $5 yo for the shooter.
Okay. Oh, really?
Let's go.
Oh, three-way.
Well,
wow.
you got to, right? I mean, it's a random bounce, but nevertheless, and I'm not a karma guy or whatever, I just don't believe in that. But nevertheless, it's, I think, the right thing to do to kind of make somebody feel good.
Your generosity knows no bounds. Yeah, I'm learning things about you.
Right, but from the times we talked, it's cost me about 30 consecutive times. So if you can slide me 200 right now, we can call it even. So was your back ever against the wall in the press conference?
I don't ever take it as that. I think they're trying to ask me good questions, and ultimately it's my job to convey what I want to convey to our great fans and the people that care about the Vikings.
Yes, sir. Any chance that before I leave today, I can get a tour of that sweet draft room and maybe take a peek?
You're welcome to come in the draft
room.
Come on!
The
the boards might be clear, but you're welcome to come in the draft room, man.
Don't tease me.
You're always welcome.
Mock madness, and here's what I was getting at from the play that you stole from my play card. How often do you guys do mock drafts, and is it fun?
So we call them simulations because I'm a nerd, so we have to call them simulations. But ultimately, those things aren't, they're not wrong. Ultimately, they're the collective wisdom of industry people who are taking into account team needs, what they know about the GMs, the organizations, and they're putting into it a guess for what might happen. Yeah. There's actually some value to looking at a lot of those guesses to help us come up with different scenarios. Hey, if this scenario happened, what would we do? Yeah. And that's really how we formulate our draft strategy. A lot of wisdom, a lot of clarity comes when you kind of just do these test runs, just like practice, no different than practice to a game. Yep. A lot of clarity comes like, hey, I don't really love this part of the board, or maybe that's why I would trade up or trade down or whatever it is. So they're super valuable exercises. So we kind of do our own simulation mock exercises ourselves just to gain some insight.
How deep does it go? I mean, are we talking 7 rounds?
So I kind of run how many we do. Some of them will do 7 rounds. Some will be just day 3. Some will be certain stylized situations that I really want to stretch the group on.
That's phenomenal. I'll buy you a metaphorical $5 yo if you just let me see the middle of the 5th round. I don't even need to see the top 4. Excuse me, I didn't say that. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, general manager for the Minnesota Vikings, with us on KFAN. A few more here. He just got done with a press conference. I want to talk about your vision of this team, of your team, but it's this team, and cohesiveness with the staff. What I'm talking about is your vision from the day that you were hired 2 years and 2.5 months ago, with the cohesiveness with your staff. How close is that to where you anticipated it would be at this time?
Yeah, it's right there. I mean, honestly, with coming in with Kevin and his staff, having 2 years with them, I mean, we finish each other's sentences. We understand. And look, even when we disagree, I've had 2 years of translating them, so I understand the why behind it. Our defensive staff is almost there, obviously, just 1 year less together. Learned so much from Flo and his staff, and really getting to see his defense in life for a year versus hearing the words. You can hear all the things he said ended up being true, but getting to see it for yourself, just it matters a little bit more in another year for them on our grading system and our process and different things like that. So we love where we're at, and we're continuing to grow.
Well, we have a camera in here, Curly with the Vikings Entertainment Network. This all will be on Vikings.com, and you're stealing my plays. So I feel like I have to look at this. I have to have this sheet in front of me when I ask the question, simply so nobody steals any more of my plays. If your group were your group, personnel, all that, if your group were a band, all right, you would require roadies, and the roadies are the scouts. Director of College Scouting is Mike Sholatin. Sholatin or Sholatin?
Sholatin.
Sholatin, right. That's what I thought. How impactful have those guys been up to the draft?
Incredibly. I try to, and you didn't hear this, but I thanked a lot of people at my beginning press conference, and that's why I thank them. I don't think people understand that the tireless work that goes into this process, pouring through random details about an incident of a college kid 3 years ago, calling his former coach's assistant's coach. I mean, a lot of the work is not the glorifying watch film and do the fun stuff. Really, it's a lot of the grit and grind and detail oriented stuff that has made the Vikings a great organization. Brought in really good people that have, for the most part, represented the company very well. And so, my hat's off to them. I can't thank them enough. And I'm the one who gets to smile up there at the podium, but those guys deserve a ton of credit. And ultimately, I feel like I'm the one. I tell them if it goes well, it's because of you, and if it goes poorly, it's my fault.
Wow, I like that vulnerability, and life on the road. I'd never know what it was like. You obviously are markedly closer to it than us, but it's not every stadium is, or not every atmosphere is Death Valley, LSU, and Alabama. Not every hotel is a Four Seasons, or you know what I'm saying, or
Don't tell my wife that.
or Marriott,
they're all Four Seasons.
But the Scouts, man, I mean, that is an arduous journey that requires to get to a certain level. There's a lot of sacrifice, and people know that, you know. But nevertheless, the life of a scout can be quite arduous. But on the other side of it, the return, if the collaboration is accurate, the simulation and everything that goes into it, boom, man, it could really change things. And I referenced this earlier, Kwesi, football quantitative methods, and there's a group, the football quantitative methods group. What about them? And what about them and some key quantitative methods aid this process?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, I call it languages. Math is a language, just like English is a language, is a way of communicating ideas. And so those guys help us communicate ideas on a football field using numbers. Mm-hmm. And I think people take that, they say analytics, they say all these different things. That doesn't mean that you get one stat and you draft this guy because he's got this one stat. But it's a very good way of contextualizing how good somebody is at something. So when you say, hey, Kwesi, man, I was watching film. This guy was really good run after catch. These guys have a very specific metric that they can compare the guys over the last 5 years on something similar to say how good that is. Does that mean he's going to be that good in the NFL? No. But it does give us a really objective way of talking about things. So those guys are kind of the engine for the Vikings to really go through those things in a quantitative way and just communicate ideas to us. Now, and that's how I started. So I have a really partial affinity to that group. But how I got better was being in the room with people who knew football. Because all the math in the world doesn't help if you can't actually translate football. So we do a great job of involving them in all our meetings, and they're so high level. Great guys. They're really passionate about football and do a lot of great work for the Vikings. And Demetrius, obviously, somebody who I've been with in my career, helps run that group. And they're exciting. It's exciting, a lot of the stuff they're doing. I'm really excited about what they've done.
One of your media relations assistant coaches just told me that time for two more. We have 2 minutes, so I'm going to fly through this. You get it all. We've discussed this on and off the microphone, Kwesi, the process of getting the team younger and being better able to compete in free agency. And year 2 to 3, it seems it's quite bountiful, at least what happened this last offseason. I mean, I've done this a long time for this team and can't say I've seen something like that in a while. So is it heading precisely where you want it to head? And does it involve how much mental multitasking in that you hypercritically winning now while keeping the gaze cast forward to, let's say, the next couple of off seasons?
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Ultimately, every deal we do, we kind of have our short and long-term goals kind of listed in a sense. And, hey, how does that help us achieve our – and not every deal you do is going to achieve both, but you want to make sure it's achieving one and not hurting you achieving the other.
Yeah.
And I think – big picture, we've had a vision for the first couple of years we've got here. Ultimately, we didn't know Grenard was going to become a free agent or Cashman was going to become a free agent. You can set a big picture hypothesis together, and ultimately, at the end of the day, it's names, options, pricing, value, valuation. Those things stay, but the big picture, how do we get younger? How do we free up cap space for the potential to fill the depth chart with those names? That was something set apart a couple years ago with the foresight and different things that you've talked about.
All right, last one here. So let's say 2 weeks from the draft, which is today, is the 2-minute warning of the process. What are some keys that you guys do during said time of urgency?
At this point, honestly, it's really just getting in the small groups and really understanding why we're going to draft this player. Let's get specific, the role with our coaching staff and our personnel staff. Is this guy going to be a special teamer? How does he come in day one? How does he learn? All those different things, just really the nuance, because big picture, we've got a lot of different perspectives who have watched the player. They've given them grades. Our board is set based, on that with some adjustments. And then we kind of just go from there. So that's really the core at this point, really knowing exactly why. And then I kind of meet with a smaller group of people, go through some different smaller strategy things and kind of go from there. But a lot of the work's been done. This is a lot of fine tuning, finishing the last details on the house that you built.
Yeah, you when you're out in public, I don't know, getting gas would be one way to put it, or charging a car, or getting baby stuff or kid stuff or whatever. Do you ever run into people who are like, Kwesi, love you? Who are we taking?
Yeah.
Does that happen in public?
It does.
Or just with me here?
It does. It can happen. And I again, any person who complains about that, this is why the sport is as popular as it is,
Yes,
and
sir.
why we get the opportunities we get. So even if in that moment that's the last question you want to answer, there's some part of me that appreciates it and understands it and loves it.
You're playing fast right now.
Thanks,
At the right time of the game.
Man, I appreciate
That's fantastic. All right, I'll see you later, okay?
All right, bro.